What's going on, everybody? It's Sasha, your licensed real estate market expert here in Charlotte. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back for another monthly market report for the month of May. Now, keep in mind, even though it's May right now, all the numbers that we're going to go over are going to be from the month of April. The reason we do that is because we want an entire month of data compiled together so we have the most accurate information as possible. And of course, I will definitely let you guys know what I'm seeing in my personal day-to-day work, helping my buyers and helping my sellers. If there's anything I can ever do for you guys, call, text, or email me anytime. All my contact information is right here and linked down below. So if you have questions about the real estate market, any suburbs, zip codes, neighborhoods, anything like that, call, text, or email me anytime. But now let's kind of get into the market. The market is rough. New listings are down, pending sales are down. Our inventory is not looking good, and there's so much happening in the market right now. I've had two of my clients and one seller that has essentially been affected by some of these bank failures that have been happening in the last 3 months. One of my clients was banking with a bank that SVB owned. What we essentially had to do was, once things started to get out, we essentially had to move the closing up a week because we were nervous that it potentially wasn't going to be able to close because they were asking them for a lot of extra documentation before they were, willing to give them the final clear to close on the home. A second one of my clients was banking at a credit union that recently just failed, and they had to move all of their money from that credit union into another bank for us to finish this closing. And that happened last month. And most recently, I just had a closing in Providence Plantation neighborhood. Absolutely amazing neighborhood. Definitely check it out if you're considering it. But I recently had a closing there, and the owner is in the banking industry. So essentially, we got this house for $5,000 less than the listed price, and we got over $16,000 in repairs done to the home. This is extremely, extremely abnormal, but essentially, the $16,000 is to cover every single nook and cranny that was found on the report. I'm talking about caulking in the bathrooms, which is not something you usually ask for, when you get an inspection report. I'm telling you, everything. Broken seals in a couple windows, that got paid for. And after I finished the transaction, I talked to the agent, and it finds out the seller, since they're in banking, one of the things they had mentioned was, hey, this is not my first rodeo. I need to sell this house. So they wanted to get out of the house. So I don't know if it's, maybe a fear of potentially them losing their job or something like that, and or if it's a fear that, they might have survived something in 2008 and they didn't want to let it happen again, but they were just trying to kind of dump this house, and they gave us everything that we wanted. So my client is now moving into essentially an almost brand new home because every little thing is getting fixed. So I'm seeing a lot of that stuff happening. I'm actually seeing in real time people that I'm working with that have been affected by some of the stuff that's going on with the banks, which obviously wasn't a case any time prior, since I've been in real estate for the last 5 years. Secondary, my lender is telling me that day-to-day basis, banks are changing certain things and they're asking for more stuff in regards to final loan approval. So once you're under contract and things like that, you need to be very, stringent on everything leading up to the closing because they're digging very deep before they're starting to approve these loans. So just keep that in mind once you're under contract for your house and during your pre-approval process. Now, before we get into the stats, another thing that I want to cover is all of the numbers, guys, that we go over is year over year. I recently had somebody comment on one of my videos and they said, Sasha, I've been listening to you for a while now. Nothing that you have said is actually happened. Then I had to comment back and I outlined what I've said and where the information was so they can go back to find it. Funny enough, today I was going to post that comment on this video and they ended up deleting it. So now, I'll be honest with you, it could be a mistake on my part, so I'm going to fix it. I talk about year over year change. So now what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to take the peak prices that we've had as far as average sales price and the median sales price and tell you how much of a decrease we've had. because people think that, oh, I haven't seen any prices drop. I haven't seen any price decreases happening. Guys, they have happened. I've mentioned to you the last, I mean, it's been 8 to 10, almost 12 months that I expect to see a 10 to 20% decrease in prices. Case in point, we're going to take a look at that stuff that I was talking about. Average sales price in January of 22 was $417,000. The average sales price in June of 22 was $474,000. That is a 12% decline in prices from our all-time highs that we've had. In February of 22, the median price point was $355,000. In June of 22, the median price point was $400,000. That is an 11% decrease, 11% decline from our all-time highs. Is it possible that we hit the bottom at that 12% decline and 11% decline back in January and February? It could be, and it could be bouncing back. But I just want to let you guys know that we are seeing declines. And what's going to be very telling is going to be what the numbers are going to be in the month of June. June, for all my buyers out there, for all my sellers, June is peak season. If you're a buyer out there, you're most likely going to pay more for the same house in June versus if you buy in any other month. So keep that in mind. Sellers, you're most likely going to get the most amount of money if you list your house in June than any other month. With that being said, let's hop into the numbers now and let's actually talk about these declines. And as far as these declines, the 12% and 11% that I had mentioned, June is going to be very telling. If the highest prices we've seen last year do not match up to what we're going to see this year, which I don't think they are, the price declines I think are going to be even steeper than that 11 to 12% we had this past year in January and February. So make sure you keep that in mind. So in regards to new listings, we had 4,349 new listings in the month of April, and that is a 25.1% decrease from this time last year. And guys, it's 500 less new listings than we had in the month prior to April, which is crazy. Normally, we might see a slight dip and then it kind of continue to go up. But if the new listings go down next month, in the month of May, we're going to be in some big trouble. Sellers are not listing their houses for sale because of the high interest rates. Now you got that new tax that's on there. If your credit score is 740 plus, you're getting charged additional fees on your monthly mortgage payment. And so many sellers have extremely great interest rates because either they bought between 2020 and 2021 and or they refinance. So there's really no reason for them to sell as of now. So I'm not sure what it's going to take to get these new listings back up. It's going to take something. It's going to take a recession. It's going to take job losses. It's going to take potentially people spending way more money than they're actually able to afford on a house. And again, we're seeing a lot of these things happen in the market. It just hasn't transferred over in the real estate market. But it's crazy to see a 25% decrease when we're supposed to be going up, 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 hitting the peak of our new listings in June and July. April, May, June is the highest listings that we normally have. And right now we're trending backwards, which is a little bit scary. Now let's move on to pending sales, where we had 4,328 home sales pending in the month of April, and that is a 9.1% decrease from this time last year. And we're roughly, that's 4 more houses pending than we had in the month of March. So again, these pending sales are crazy. This is telling us that the buyer demand is down, but because of the new listings being down even further, the demand essentially is still outweighing all the houses that we have on the market. But again, the buyer demand is down. Prices are still relatively high. Interest rates are still relatively high. And it's very tough for some of these buyers out here to swallow the fact that they could have paid $400,000 for a home 2 to 3 years ago, and now that same exact home with absolutely zero updates is worth close to $600,000. It's madness. Now let's get into the average sales price and the median sales price, and we're going to add the declines from our all-time highs from now on. So guys, I'm gonna start showing you these declines, and we're not only gonna focus year over year, because it seems some people got confused and they thought that prices have never come down. So it's my job to show you exactly kind of what is going on. So in regards to the average sales price, it came in at 460,000 in the month of April, and that is a 2.6% increase from this time last year. However, it is a 3% decrease from our all-time highs. As you can tell, June 22, average sales price was 474,000. In the month of April, it's 460,000. That is a 3% decrease from our all-time highs in regards to the average sales price. Now, in regards to the median sales price, it came in at 375,000 for the month of April, and that is a 1.1% decrease from this time last year. And I know some of you might have laughed at the last market report because I was excited that we were seeing a 0.04% decrease, but it was literally the first time we were starting to see the median price point go negative, literally like in the last 10 years. But in regards to our all-time highs, we're actually down 6% in the median sales price from our all-time highs. In June, the median sales price was 400,000, and this month it is at 375, which comes out to a 6% decrease as we're seeing right now. We're gonna see our peak in the month of June, and I'm very curious if it's gonna be close to that $400,000 price point. So we'll wait and see for that. Now let's talk about days on market, which came in at 39, and that is a 143% increase from this time last year. But get this, it is 10 days faster a home has sold than we had in the month of March. So we definitely noticed that, kind of being out here helping buyers. Stuff is starting to sell quicker as we head into the spring and summer market, and I think it's going to continue to do so until we head towards that August, September, October area. So stuff is going to sell faster, and if you're someone that's looking under 450, under 500, the chances of a potential multiple offer situation are pretty high. If you're somebody that's looking above that price point, above 500, above 600,000, you can probably expect the house to be sitting on the market for a little bit longer, closer to a couple weeks instead of selling within the first week, like some of those houses under 450 and under 500,000. Now let's move on to the percentage of the original list price received, which came in at 97.5, and that is a 5.2% decrease from this time last year, and it's actually a slight increase of almost 1.2%. So essentially what this is telling you is, based off of this number, you can expect to pay 2.5% below the listed price of a home. Now, this number had jumped up a little bit from the month previous, and guys, this is happening because a lot of sellers, I'm not going to say a lot, but there is a good amount of sellers that are starting to price their houses a lot more aggressively. So there's still houses out there that get over the asking price, but as long as it's under 100%, but at our lowest, guys, we were at 94.5%. So at our lowest point, you were expected to almost pay 5.5% below a listed price of a home, but now we're at 2.5%. As we're heading into the hotter market, we will definitely get back up to that 5+% as we get a little bit closer towards the end of summer and especially the end of the year. Now let's get into one of the most depressing stats, which is months of inventory, aka our new listings as well. And it came in at 1.3 months of inventory, and that's a 62.5% increase from this time last year, but no change from the month prior. This is what is keeping these prices relatively high. This is what is causing all of the problems in the real estate market. I just want a neutral market. Give me 3 to 4 months of inventory where the sellers can be happy and the buyers can be happy. Right now, I do not know what it takes. I don't see the wave of foreclosures coming. I don't see any wave of anything coming in regards to a lot more houses getting put back on the market. In some other states, 100% yes, but Charlotte continues to be extremely strong in this regard. I don't know what we need to get this up. I hope you like this video. Call, text, email me anytime, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye.